This news story was produced by Cogeco North Bay News. To watch the full newscast, tune into channels 12 or 700 live at 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. The disagreement began when Chair of Community Services Mark King wanted more information on Invest North Bay's annual allotment of $140,000. He wanted council to hold off on approving the money until a concrete budget was produced by the board. Several councillors took exception to this. King says his request for more information was misinterpreted.
Both Councillor Vinecourt and Councillor Vraybosch made it very, very clear in their comments that in some way my comments were meant to suggest that the Invest North Bay board was somehow incompetent, or that the fact that I would ask for some sort of a budget process was being used in some way to reflect on the ability of the board. And I made that perfectly clear. The fact that they brought that forward at the council meeting really suggests that they've stooped to a new low. And that's what I consider it. We're there to do a job. It's not about personalities. And in no way would I suggest that the people in Invest North Bay aren't competent people. But we have an obligation to the people. We spend their money. We have an obligation to make sure that we spend it correctly.
Deputy Mayor and Budget Chief Sheldon Frigette took exception to King's comments.
They have a $140,000 budget every year, and that's the fact. Okay, and council approved this budget, and for Councillor King to come out and say that we're giving him a blank check, it's simply not true.
And he says it's personal attacks toward him. How would you respond to that?
No, it's not the case, and I might be stepping out of bound, but in our in-camera meeting, we were trying to explain this to him and go over it. And even when we asked him, we said, well, even if we put a budget piece in the operating agreement, would you support it? And he said no. So, I mean, very simply put, Councillor King does not support growth in North Bay, simply put. And I'm just floored because I want to see the city grow.
Chair of Engineering and Works Tanya Vraybosch voices her displeasure with King's comments.
I took exception to Councillor King coming out saying that, Invest North Bay, he basically slapped him in the face and was, as much as he said he has all the faith in the world, he needs to go back and re-listen to what he said, because every person around that table spoke against what Councillor King said that night. He talked about writing blank checks. This is the man who runs community services and has written 2 checks to Invest North Bay in the last 2 budget cycles. What we talked about last night had nothing to do with the dollar amount specifically. It was about the operating agreement to say, this is how Invest North Bay will interact with the city of North Bay. Invest North Bay isn't hiding anything. If he wants to know something, ask them a question. But these are the heavy hitters for the city of North Bay. These are the people that have the biggest companies in North Bay. They've got the employees. They're here on a volunteer basis to come and help us out in a way that's going to work with businesses and cut out the red tape and bureaucracy that we saw last night with the political BS. And that's the stuff we want to get away from, because why does a business want to come here when all they're seeing is what we saw last night?
I contacted Councillor Darrell Vinecourt for an interview. However, he was not available on Tuesday. If you are interested in watching Cogeco North Bay News, you can become a subscriber by calling 1-800-267-9000.